Hi again, everyone. I am Chad Harberts, and this is the Chad Harberts Show. Happy Independence Day weekend, all of you. Happy 4th of July. I hope you're having some great time with your family. I hope you're barbecuing. Hope you're maybe playing some golf, doing whatever you want to do. It's a great time to celebrate America's 250th birthday, but it's also a great time to talk about sports and what we're doing. I usually have guests on this show. I love to talk to coaches and athletic directors and athletic administrators from across the state. But being 4th of July weekend, I was going to run this one solo. It's just me. It's just Chad Harberts talking about high school sports for a short period of time here. Hope you'll bear with me. First of all, a little background in case you're new to the show. I grew up in Iowa. I lived the first 7 years of my life in Waterloo, then moved to Grundy Center, graduated from Grundy Center High School as probably the most average athlete in Grundy Center history. I have zero career highlights. I caught my last touchdown in 7th grade. I never hit a home run in high school baseball. I can't dunk a basketball. I do have a hole-in-one in my career, but that happened in my 20s living in Kansas City. My biggest career highlight is probably going to be I once fired a 4/39 at the old course in Parkersburg and finished 4th in a tournament. That's my career highlights. I was a very average athlete, but I came from a home where we loved high school athletics. My father, Alfred Harberts, was a tremendous athlete in Grundy Center history. In fact, this says 1,600-meter run, but this was actually the mile record. They converted it a number of years ago. My father had the mile record at Grundy Center High School for 50 years, from 56 to 2006. He held the mile record at Grundy Center High School. It was broken as a 1,600-meter run. He also won some state track meets. Was a tremendous athlete. He's in the Hall of Fame here at Grundy Center High School. Why am I so average if he was so great? He was just a better athlete than I was, number one. Number two is I'm adopted. The genes didn't carry down to me, but I love high school sports. And what happened a couple of months ago was something I dreamed about. I wouldn't even say I manifested this. I didn't work at it as much as I wanted to, but I manifested this. When I was moving back to Iowa 2 years ago from Las Vegas, I'd been away from Iowa for 31 years, 17 in Kansas City, where I was a sportscaster for 10 years at Metro Sports in Kansas City. Back then I was known as the Monster. I talked high school sports all the time on Time Warner Cable's Metro Sports. Then I moved to Las Vegas for 14 years. I came back to Iowa. But when I was coming back to take a job as a multimedia journalist at the Waterloo Cedar Falls Courier, I also said, I've got to get a podcast or a radio show going. I got to do this to be out there talking high school sports again. If I make a few bucks doing it, that's great. But I just love talking high school sports. I love everything about it. And I guess the universe heard me because Dr. Bowser got a hold of me one day and asked me to be a guest on his show, the Dr. Bowser Show on Sports Guys Iowa Network. I knew nothing about any of it. I've known Chris Bowser since we were in college together, but I knew nothing about Sports Guys Iowa. I didn't know what was going on, but they had me be a guest on one of the shows. Had a great time. I had a fabulous time doing it. They had me come back as a guest a few weeks later. Had a great time again. I decided to reach out to John Gunderson, myself, and ask him about this Sports Guys Iowa Network. And I told him that since I moved back to town, I've been interested in doing an Iowa high school sports show. And those are the only words I got out of my mouth before he said, let's do it. Your first show's this Thursday. So that's how it happened. And I got hooked up with Sports Guys Iowa. If you haven't checked this out, please go to sportsguysiowa.com or check us out on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, certainly here on YouTube. You can also go to our website. What we're doing right now, what we're in the early stages of, is building this incredible podcast network that has started with the Dr. Bowser basketball show, Deep in the Valley, talking about Missouri Valley Conference athletics, and he's doing a tremendous job with that. We've got that Peacock Corner, that Upper Iowa show. I love listening to guys talk about small college sports as well. And we have a couple of high school shows. We've got the Chad Harberts Show, and we've got High School Huddle on Sunday nights. which we're in the process of building up. And this is one of those things where if you're an Iowan, or if you grew up in Iowa at least, and you have a passion for sports, there's probably some room for you on our bandwagon. There's some opportunities here. We're going to be expanding rather quickly. We've got a lot of things in the fire. We got a lot of things moving on. And if you want to be part of it, reach out to John Gunderson. I'll put his email up here on the screen, and you can reach out to John Gunderson and talk to me. It could be behind the scenes. It could be on camera. It could be a number of things. We like the direction we're going in a short amount of time. It's been less than a year since this all started. And so I'm just very grateful for this 4th of July weekend, this 250th birthday weekend for America, that I can move back to Middle America and be on Sports Guys Iowa's network and talk high school sports, because I love them. And I know we got a comment on TikTok last week when we were kind of ranting and raving about this whole 8th graders eligible in all sports. And someone, I guess, is very young because it's TikTok, made a comment. Just what we need is two old guys talking about high school sports. And I love that comment. That made me laugh because I am an old guy. And most of the guys on this network are in their 30s to middle age. We're old guys, but we love sports. We love sports. And I love high school sports. In Iowa, high school sports is the best thing we do on the whole sports scene. And you can try to argue with me. You're going to be wrong, but you can try to argue. But Iowa State and Northern Iowa are never going to win a national championship in football. It's just not going to happen. It's not. And you can think I'm putting them down, but I'm not. I was here when Iowa was the #1 team in the country. Okay. I was here when Northern Iowa had its first shot at going to a Sweet 16. Okay. I've seen the heights that Iowa and Iowa State and Northern Iowa can get to, but the dynamics have changed. The money has changed completely. There is virtually no chance that Northern Iowa State and Iowa will ever win a national football championship. I know what happened in Indiana. I know that, okay? Indiana, different caliber of high school sports. Indiana, sandwiched between Illinois and Ohio, huge high school sports. Little easier to recruit in Indiana than it is to recruit in Iowa. Not that our coaches aren't trying to get it done. They are, but it's never going to happen. They're never going to win a national football championship. I promise you, between now and the day I die, it is not going to happen. Would it be great if it did happen? Absolutely. Fantastic for the state. It's not going to happen. Okay. I was around when Iowa went to the Final Four in basketball in 80. Okay. When Iowa played Michigan, #1 versus #2, or Iowa versus Ohio State, #1 versus #2. Northern Iowa had some tremendous teams when I was in college. Tremendous teams. Teams so good that Kurt Warner was the backup quarterback. Okay, really good teams. Bryce Pop, Kenny Shedd, James Jones. Really tremendous athletes, but couldn't get past Marshall or couldn't get past Montana or Georgia Southern or any of these other Division I AA powers that were around back then. And those are great teams. What we do the best is high school sports. And let me tell you something. I know because I've studied high school sports in the state. I work on high school sports stuff every single day of the week. The high school sports scene in Iowa has never been better. We first started playing high school football in the state 1891, Iowa City High. First recorded football game that we have a score from that we know about, 1891, okay? Girls basketball, boys basketball, soon to follow. Iowa, by the way, high school leader when it came to Title IX, 1972. Girls basketball and sports had to be offered in every high school, public high school in America. Iowa and Tennessee, only 2 states that were already doing it. Iowa had been doing it for 50 years at that point with girls basketball, okay? Only track meet in the country that's combined, boys and girls track, same track meet. That's why it's the best track and field meet in the country, because it's not separate. It's all together. Plus, we have the best track announcer in the country in Mike J. Only state in the country with 2 separate boys and girls unions, so they can take care of their sports and know that there's some difference between boys sports and girls sports, but they should all be celebrated. Okay, and I know there's people who want to put those 2 organizations together. I would say don't do that. Let them partner up where they partner up. Let them be separate where they're separate. Nothing wrong with that. We saw how great it was this year for bowling. They separated the boys and girls state championships in bowling, gave them all their own week. And it was a tremendous success for the girls who no longer felt like they were part of just being part of the boys' meet. They were separate, had their own week. Great for both bowling squads, boys and girls. Iowa does high school sports better than anything else sports-wise in this state. It's as simple as that. We have 340 roughly high schools in the state. It's always growing a little bit. There's always a little bit of some consolidation going on. But we are great at high school sports. When you see the number of athletes that are now coming out of these prep programs and going to the college level, and not just Division I, but certainly Division I, but D2, D3, JUCO, NAIA. Okay, we're producing a lot of high school athletes. We're producing a lot of quality, high caliber boys and girls that can go on and contribute at the college level and get a great education, play their sport at the next level. That wasn't happening when I was in high school. Not like it is now. Girls basketball was still 6-on-6. It was hard to get a 6-on-6 girl any kind of college look because they weren't used to running the floor. It did happen. There was a few. Kay Reek went to Drake. Kim Van Diest went to Iowa State. Certainly we had Lynn Lorenzen, who had a college career, but until they switched to 5-on-5, now look what's happening. You don't believe me? Go out right now, get on your internet, and go to the Iowa State, Northern Iowa, and Drake women's basketball sites and look at their rosters. Look at all the native Iowa girls on those rosters. There's a lot. Northern Iowa typically has 9 to 10 Iowa natives on their roster. Okay, every school, all 4 big schools in the state are recruiting native Iowans. You look at those CIML girls right now, they got girls that are going Big 10, Big 12, big time. They're going big time. There's a girl in Charles City that's going to the SEC in softball. There are big time athletes coming out of here. I happen to live in Grundy Center, Iowa, where Judd Jarofsky is simply the best 5-sport athlete I've ever seen. He is the best 5-sport athlete in Iowa history. He might be the best all-around athlete in Iowa history. And yes, I know about Tim Dwight. I know about Cooper DeJean. I know about some of these other athletes, okay? But this kid excelled in 5 sports. Could have gone to college on a scholarship in any of the 5. Judd Jarofsky could have got a scholarship in football, in basketball, in track and field, in baseball, or in golf. Now, it might not have all been Division I. And a couple of those schools, he could have played multiple sports. He really could have. That's how good he is. He chose Stanford and golf. Stanford. You know how hard it is to get into Stanford and then be on the golf team? Are you kidding me? He is the greatest 5-sport athlete we've ever had. When I was in college, or when I was in high school, I should say, in the 80s, the best athlete in the North Iowa Cedar League was Trev Alberts, who was a really good football player. Went to Nebraska, got drafted in the NFL in the first round. Was a decent basketball player, was a decent baseball player, was a really good football player. That was the cream of the crop coming out of Iowa in the mid-80s. Now you got guys like Judd Jarofsky, who could have played 5 sports in college, 5 different sports on scholarship. Or a Cooper DeJean, or all these other guys. Jaden Stevens right now at Waverly Shell Rock, who's probably going to be a Division I football player, could be a Division I track athlete. Absolutely could. Charlie Gall, who's at Cedar Falls right now, she's going to be a junior. That's a girl who's going to have Division I offers for distance running, pretty much wherever she wants to go. Certainly Quentin Nauman down at Western Dubuque, going to Oregon, one of the premier track programs in the country, okay, is recruiting Iowans. It's never been better to be a high school athlete in this state. And it's never been a better time to promote high school sports and cover them. And I love it. In my job at the Waterloo Cedar Falls Courier, I have 34 teams I keep an eye on week by week. I'm tracking all the Waterloo Cedar Falls schools, most of the North Iowa Cedar League, most of the Iowa Star Conference, some of the Upper Iowa, some of the North Central, some of the top of the Iowa, some independents, some WAMAC. I track 34 schools every single week, all those athletes. Tremendous success stories there. You get down to mid-state, you see the CIML, You see some of the Iowa Alliance, tremendous athletes coming out of there. Mississippi Valley Conference, from Cedar Falls to Cedar Rapids to Iowa City to Dubuque. Great athletes, Division I athletes, all kinds of athletes coming out of there. It's been a great time to be in high school, and it's a great time to promote it. That's what we're trying to do here. It's what I'm trying to do. In fact, I'm going to put my email up on the screen. And if you're a high school coach or a high school administrator, and you just want to come on this show and brag up to your school, I will give you the best 20-minute interview you've ever had. We will talk up your program. We had Sean Burks on a couple of weeks ago from Audubon. I didn't know Sean before the interview. He reached out because we have a common friend in the football business, and we made a quick connection phone-wise, had him on. Tremendous podcast. Tremendous to talk to an 8-man football coach and an athletics director out in the western side of the state and what they're going through, because I really just see the northeastern side of the state. So we certainly want to have you on this network. I want to promote high school sports across the state. I want to promote the 8-player programs. I want to promote the 5A programs and every program in between. I love it. There's a project I'm working on right now that's going to be closer to done in a few months. It's taking me a lot of time, but when I get it done and I tell you about it, about what's going on from a high school sports perspective, I think you're going to be blown away, because it's never been pulled off in this state. Just trying to go out and to some various sources and pull together some history stuff, because I believe that the history of sports, high school sports in this state, needs to be preserved, protected. It certainly needs to be amplified. I got the idea with the fact that Waterloo West and Waterloo East are closing, and it breaks my heart that those records are going to be going away, and Waterloo United will have all new records. Because you think about Waterloo West and Waterloo East, you're starting to talk about Tim Moses, you're talking about Dan Gable, you're talking about Roger Kittleson and all his records there. You're talking about all the tremendous athletes that went through East and West, and those records, they'll be preserved, but they all just go up in the ether a little bit too, because now it's Waterloo United. And I hate to see that. I hate to see that stuff go away, because just in my little lifetime here in Iowa, since I've been alive, and certainly since I've been back here, I've told you this a million times. There used to be 5 high schools: Beeman, Conrad, Liscombe, Union, Witten. Now there's 1. Gladbrook and Rhinebeck were still separate when I was going to school here. NU High, where Trev Alberts played football, no longer exists. It's gone. It's completely gone. Now, there's been some new schools pop up, and I feel good for them. Don Bosco didn't start playing football until, 2002? They were around the 50s or 60s, but they didn't start playing football until the early 2000s. It became a powerhouse. I love that. I love Cedar Ridge Christian, what they're doing. I love seeing some of these newer schools pop up. You think about the success that Iowa City West has had in a short amount of time. You think about the success that Waukee Northwest has had in a short amount of time. In fact, I heard this great story just 2 weeks ago from a guy who used to be down in Waukee, and he was telling me about how close they came to closing Waukee High School in the late 60s, because nobody was living out there. Enrollment was declining. They were going to close it and merge with somebody else. And now Waukee is on the verge of a 3rd high school in a few years. They have 2. They're on the verge of a 3rd. And yet 55 years ago, they almost closed the school. They were talking about closing down the school. And now it's become a powerhouse, that school district in the CIML. And that's the things we want to talk about. We got some great stuff coming up this fall with some football things we're going to be doing. And we want to do even more. We want to showcase your teams, your coaches, your administrators. I know we talk about this in the high school huddle all the week, but if you go on our website, sportsguysiowa.com, you can upload highlights of your team. Baseball, softball, don't worry about who's who. I'll find a roster and get the names. But if you want to give us 30 seconds or 60 seconds of your baseball or softball team, or this fall, your football, your volleyball team, your cross-country team, and want us to promote it, I love that. I love it. I want to put those kids' names out there. They should be celebrated. All these kids who are going out for the name on the front of their jersey. There's no name on the back at most schools. There's just a name on the front. And they're going out there and they're representing their town, their community. Okay, that's huge. There's a history in that. There's a huge history in that. There's a lot of town rivalries that have existed now since the late 1800s. And there's more growing all the time. These kids are going out there and representing the same thing that their older siblings or their fathers or their grandfathers represented. Like in my case, I was representing Grundy Center, the same place that my father represented 30 years earlier. I want to showcase all that. I think it's such a good thing. I think the coaches and the administrators who put in the time to work with these kids, to give them these opportunities, to let them get out there and showcase their skills for their community. There's nothing better. I was asked in a week or so to go to an all-star game, not a high school, but an all-star game at Field of Dreams, or go to a semifinal softball game between Columbus Catholic and Jessup. My choice. I chose the softball game 100 times out of 100. And I love Field of Dreams. Okay. But if I can go to a high school softball game, sit outside the backstop, have a walking taco, keep scoring my scorebook, do that. That's me. That's me right there. There you go. That's me. That's what I love doing. I don't need to go to a college all-star game. I don't need to go to a pro event. I've been to plenty of them. I've covered Royals games, more than I care to count. I've covered the Chiefs. I've covered Kansas State, Kansas, Missouri, minor league soccer, minor league hockey, Sporting KC when it was still called the Kansas City Wizards, and they were playing at Arrowhead. Yeah, I've covered that stuff. And all this time, I just want to be on the high school sports scene because I love the passion those kids have. I love the passion the coaches have. I love what they're trying to do. And I love the fact they're playing for the name on the front of their jersey. I love it so much. I'm being weird today, getting into my stuff here. That right there is me, my best friend Kevin. Talked me into refereeing. I referee sub-varsity football, basketball, and lacrosse in my spare time. Okay? That's how much I love being around high school sports. See, I covered some minor league hockey, Kansas City Blades, 10th anniversary. I love being around high school sports. I want you to care about it like I do. I hope you do. I hope if you come to this show, if you go onto YouTube, you come to this show, or you come to High School Huddle, you're going to find out how much I love high school sports. I love everything about it. Those awards, high school related, high school related, high school related. My dad's Hall of Fame plaque. And yes, I have liquor on my trophy case here, signed by John Daly. That's why it's there. That up there, best sports story in the state last year on Clarksville softball. I don't care about I love the award. I don't care about it. I love the award. But I love the most I love about it, about the best sports story in the state of Iowa last year, it was about high school softball. It was about high school sports. So the award's great. I love getting the plaque. I love framing the article, but it's about high school sports. And that's what I love about it the most. So I'm glad you come to Sports Guys Iowa Network. I hope you check out all of our shows. I hope you check out the Peacock Corner. I hope you check out Dr. Bowser's Deep in the Valley. I think it's a great podcast. He's really giving the Missouri Valley Conference the coverage it deserves, but the coverage it's not getting. It's really not. The coverage of Missouri Valley Conference athletics has fallen off a little bit. I know this because I cover every Northern Iowa home women's basketball game, a little bit of football, a little bit of men's basketball, a little bit of volleyball, a little bit of softball, but I cover every women's basketball game. And a lot of times I'm the only media person there. The Northern Iowan, the school paper is not even there. It's just me. But I'm glad I'm there because those women are doing a tremendous job. They're just great student athletes. They're really good basketball players. And I love what Tanya Warden's doing there. I love that a Des Moines Lincoln girl, a Creighton girl, that spent her entire life in this state building up women's basketball and building it up with Iowa girls. I love all that. I'm glad Dr. Bowser is doing what he's doing. and promoting the Missouri Valley Conference. But really overall, I love what Sports Guys Iowa is doing. I love that we're out there trying to promote Iowa high school sports. We hope you'll jump on the bandwagon, maybe just as a viewer, maybe check out the Chad Harberts show, and you go back and check out the old ones, by the way. Mike J's been on, Jason Esslinger's been on, Tom Wilson, Sean Burks. We've had some great ones, and we're going to have some more. We're going to have a lot more over the next few months. Check out the Dr. Bowser show. Check out the Peacock Corner. But if you want to be part of what we're doing, there's going to be opportunities. Like I said, it could be on camera. Maybe you have a passion for something. Maybe you have a passion for high school sports on the western side of the state, and you think it's getting undercovered. And maybe you want to do a segment every week and be on this show or be on High School Huddle. I would love that. I would love that. This is not exclusively my domain. I'm going to promote high school sports, but it doesn't have to be me doing it all the time. If you have a passion for that and you say, hey, the Rolling Valley Conference is not getting enough coverage, or one of those other Western Iowa conferences are not getting enough coverage, or maybe you think the top of Iowa or the upper Iowa is not getting enough coverage, and you're one of those people who says, I can go out to games, I can interview coaches, I can interview athletes. If you want to do that, we will find a spot for you. I promise you, either on this show or on High School Huddle or on your own show. We will do that because we want to put these athletes and these coaches on our air. We want to get them up on YouTube. We want to get them on our social media. We want people to know about them because we think it's so great what they're doing. Maybe you're a behind the scenes person. We could use some production help for sure. We could use some social media help. We could use some sales help. We're ground floor right now. Sports Guys Iowa is still ground floor. You want to get on now because we're taking off. It's 9 guys right now. It's been less than a year, and we're taking off. So certainly there's some opportunities to reach out to our producer extraordinaire, John Gunderson, and say, hey, I want to be part of what you guys are doing. And he's the man. He knows what's going on. He knows the direction we're going. He's busting his butt on this job and doing it the best way he can. And if you want to be involved in the high school sports scene, I can make that happen. We can carve out a segment for other conferences or other sports or other whatever. If it's high school related, yeah, I want it. I want to put it on here. I want to talk it up. I want the whole world to know how great high school sports is in Iowa. It's the best sports things we do. And again, I'm not dissing Drake, Northern Iowa State. I'm not dissing the D3s, the JUCOs. I went to a JUCO in Iowa. I went to Marshtown Community College before I went to Northern Iowa. Not dissing what they do. But that level's not the best we do in college sports. It's sometimes the best, okay? Wartburg Wrestling is the best that we do at that level. It really is, okay? But it's not across the board. The best we do across the board is high school sports. From the northwest corner to the southeast corner, from Sioux Center to Keokuk, all right? From Essex to, I don't know, Decorah, whatever, up that way, out that way, wherever you want to go to, up the river, up to the Wisconsin border. This is the best we do. The NICL, North Iowa Cedar League, never been better. Never been better in the history of the league back to 1936. The level of play in this league has never been better. Cedar Falls High School, probably never been better. And they've had some tremendous success. They really have. Look at their history. Always a football power. Always pretty good in basketball. They won the state championship in basketball this year. Never been better level than where Cedar Falls High School is right now. The CIML, lights out. Tremendous athletes, tremendous coaches, tremendous facilities, for crying out loud. We got it going on in the state when it comes to high school sports. And I want to keep promoting it. I want you to keep enjoying it. And I want, if you want, to be part of it. So that's just my message for today. I wanted to come on here, ramble for a little bit, try to make some sense, try to lighten it up a little bit. But my passion in this world, professionally, because I do have a son, he's sitting right over there, probably playing Minecraft or watching videos. But my passion professionally is high school sports. I love it. I love doing it. I love having you be part of it. And we want to continue this and make it bigger and better We want to be the go-to place for high school sports in this state. And we want other states to look at what we're doing and say, we should be doing that for our kids, for our athletes, our coaches, our administrators, because they are talking up high school sports every single week and promoting what's going on in that scene. And it's tremendous. So enjoy your Independence Day weekend. Have some barbecue. Hopefully the rains go away. I would normally be on the golf course right now, but the golf course has gotten so much rain, it's flooded. It's closed, and that's okay. Gave me some time to be on the air with you. So enjoy your Independence Day weekend. Enjoy America's 250th birthday. Have great times with your family, with your friends. Get out and take some leisure time because we all work really hard. But just know, Sports Guys Iowa is taking off. The high school sports scene is going nowhere but up from here. Boom. Just straight up. Okay. It's never been better. It was here and now it's here and it's just taking off. And we want you to be part of it. We want to keep promoting it. So you've got our email addresses. You can hit us up. You can go to our website, sportsguysiowa.com. We got all kinds of cool stuff there. And certainly it's going to get bigger and bigger. And for the people that have come on board with us and have done interviews with me and been part of all this, thank you so much, because this fills me up every week. Getting to talk high school sports, it fills me up. It really does. It brings me tremendous joy. And I hope high school sports brings you tremendous joy as well. Have a great Independence weekend, everyone.